Hi, this is Lael of SheChanges, and this is the first of what I hope will be a series of things that I'm calling Food for Thought. It's the place where I riff off the top of my head of some content, some models, some resources, some thoughts on a particular topic that is surfacing among the women that I'm working with. So today's nugget that I'm going to grab, the topic that I've grabbed is came to me last week when a client emailed me and she said, I've been writing a lot and thinking a lot since the last session, and the topic that I've landed on is around my worth. What do you have? And she asked, like, what are your thoughts? Where do I go from here? And I've been thinking about that. I said, let me just put that in the hopper and give that some thought. And the first thing I'd offer, because I think it's really relevant to women, to me, it just comes up a lot and a lot. There are books written about it, women's worth. When I think about worth, the first thing that I'd invite you to do is to define what that means for yourself, because so often we bundle and we clump together 2 or 3 different concepts in one word. So if you look at the word worth and you double click it like it's an icon, most often what I find are 3 topics emerge from that. The first is value, which is what do I bring that's valuable? The second is money. What am I worth? And it usually comes up in periods of negotiation or looking at your salary. And the third is confidence. So I want to speak to each of those really quickly. The first is value. And most often than not, Danielle Laporte talks a lot about this. She says, if you don't know what your value is, pay attention to the compliments that people are continually giving you. And that is your value coming back to you. I'll give you a personal example. Is I was reflecting on this the other day, and I was invited into my second graders classroom to speak on the topic of heroes, because my second graders teacher thought I was a hero, which blew me away because I was sitting amidst firefighters and EMTs and paramedics and surgeons and Lael, and it just felt new. But I tried to move into that mantle of hero through her eyes when she said, you help people navigate fear. And I just thought that was such an awesome compliment. And I talked in front of that class about mustering. My favorite word, mustering, like garnering courage, getting courage, gathering it. So anyway, I was talking about mustering, and at the end of the 30 minutes I was talking, I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, I should stop. And one of the teachers in the back of the room was like this, and she said, I could just listen to you talk all day. And I thought, oh, that's nice. But later in the day, I'm like, I hear that a lot. I hear someone say, just say something. I want to hear your thoughts on something. And so that's what I mean about value and compliments coming your way. That's you being reflected back to you. So grab those and create a pile, and eventually you will see the value that you are bringing without even realizing it. I often ask clients, look to see what's sitting right at your feet, that you don't have to go out there and find it. It's actually found you, and it's just waiting like a loyal dog at your feet to be noticed and to be pet. That the compliment that I have recently gotten and amassed and taken in was the genesis for this, for me to put my thoughts out there more. So value, that's the first one. The other is confidence, and I will say this about confidence because I hear this a lot and I experience this a lot, is what gets in the way of women's confidence is often fear of seeming arrogant. So we have this worst fear in our heads of, I don't want to be that person who is all that and full of themselves and thinks they're better than everybody else. So because of that fear, that exaggerated story that we have, we often humble ourselves to the point almost of invisibility. We diminish ourselves. We water ourselves down. So know that it's really arrogance that you're afraid of. And if you can address that, have you ever been called arrogant? Has anyone ever said to you, you're so full of yourself? Chances are no, because here's what I've come to appreciate is when women are full of themselves and when women are self-assured and when women are confident, they often use that to be of service, not to put themselves up on a pedestal and to feel good and to eat power. It's about having a bigger platform. It's about touching more people, having more impact. It's about service. It's about love, ultimately. So put that in the hopper when you're thinking about confidence. The other thing the final thing that I'd add is around money. And so when you think about worth and you're looking at that subtopic of money and what you're worth financially, a great resource, a really amazing resource for me, was Kate Northrup's work around Money, a Love Story, the book that she wrote. And she had done some webinars, and she really gets you to go inside, again, double click that icon and see what's inside your story of money. And she has you rewrite the story as if you're the heroine of your own journey, so that everything you learned about money brought you to this point, and you make yourself right. And most importantly, you plug into your values around money. And then money starts to not feel... in my case, money started to not feel so corrupt. So the Joneses. So all the things that I didn't value, I got to say, oh, I love money. Because I'm going to use it for this, this, and this. And I love those. So it opened up this whole place of oxygen for me and place of potential around money. If you're in the process of looking at your worth financially and you are negotiating for salary, here's what I go to because it works. I say with a woman and she's deciding her hourly rate or what she's going to put on the table to negotiate, and I say, if you were a man applying for this position, how much would you put out there that you're worth? And I immediately get an answer from a woman because she gets it, she knows it. So it's grabbing that answer and applying that to yourself. It's that simple sometimes. So those are my thoughts, 3 thoughts on worth for what it's worth. Food for thought for today.